Buenos dias, and happy Bitcoin all-time high day for those that are celebrating. 112K was crossed last night, and even Ethereum is on a mission right now, on a mission to reclaim 3K and eventually reclaim also all-time highs, which were just about 4,800 USD. We're still a little bit away from that, but if you see the trend over the past 2 months, we almost doubled in price for Ethereum, which is good to see. And I think that at some point, someone will also tell the other alts that ETH is running, that Bitcoin is running. And here, of course, on this channel, we're focused mainly on the Cosmos ecosystem, which is an ecosystem that has been collectively lagging behind a bit historically, but also because there was a lot of misalignment, there was a lot of uncoordinated efforts and infighting. Now something major happened a couple of months ago in Cosmos, which is a new leadership. We now have new leadership in Cosmos, new, young, ambitious, well-respected, product-focused guys that are running the Interchain Foundation through Interchain Labs, previously called Skip Protocol, that are driving cohesion, shipping products, and also advancing the Cosmos hub into an actual hub, into an actual decentralized router with a 10+ year runway, 45, 50 people working on it. So they're cooking very, very hard right now. And I think eventually we're going to see the fruits of this coming out in the not so distant future. I would say within a month or two now, we're going to see some major announcements or launches even around the Cosmos EVM, previously known as FMOS, permissionless EVM contracts, but also Cosmos DeFi coming to the Cosmos Hub natively with the launch of Stride DEX. So a lot of things are cooking right now. But again, Atom, Cosmos, ecosystem tokens like DYDX, like Akash Network, like Osmosis are still lagging behind when it comes to price performance, especially in the short term, of course. They just got flashed down brutally, and it's not been easy over the past couple of years. Also, to quickly recap the bear market, I think 2022, when Terra collapsed, was the starting point. It was the big black swan that caused this starting point for a bear market, but also for a Cosmos bear market, because it dried out a lot of liquidity in the ecosystem and had a large impact on Osmosis specifically, which at the time was the largest DEX by far, around $1 billion in TVL in liquidity. And it took a very long time to recover from that. But I would say 2022, 23 even, those were the, in hindsight, chill bear market years, right? Because we saw a lot of the big headlines, we saw a lot of the massive collapses, large funds, decoupling of the USDC stablecoin, right? FTX, of course. So we saw all of these headlines. So we could attribute the dump to something, to an event that happened in our industry, right? Then in 2024, at least the first half, we saw actually a very bullish market environment, right? With the launch of Celestia that went to $20, with also Say Network that went to above $1. They launched around a similar time, by the way. We saw Osmo pump to above $2. Atom even was at $15, $14, $15, something like that. So the first half of 2024 was like, everybody thought, okay, this bear market is over now. This was it. And it wasn't even that bad, right? It wasn't even that long. But then the real bear market started mid-2024 until now, pretty much. And that was the more brutal part of the bear market, I would say, because there weren't that many mess-ups. There weren't that many like public events that we could say, okay, this is why we're dumping now. It just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, while at the same time also Bitcoin kept going up. So it was this irrational dry out of altcoins, sucking out all the liquidity for a very long time. And we might not have seen the worst. To be honest, obviously, I don't know, no one knows, but it feels like, sentiment-wise, I personally believe, and that's my personal sense, and I can be totally wrong, that we've seen the worst, right? And maybe this is the 10th time where this is just a little dead cat bounce and we're going to go lower from here. It wouldn't be the first time that I'm wrong. It wouldn't be the first time that a YouTuber is not correct in their senses and their feelings, but that's just how I feel right now. This is my personal opinion. So what I've been doing, I also said this in the last video, I actually bought some more tokens. I bought some TIA at 135. I bought some DYDX at around 50 cents. I bought some more Osmo at 14 cents. I bought some other coins, also Stride. I just bought actually this morning because it had this dump. So I was like, okay, I already bought some Stride a lot higher than that. I bought Stride at $1. I even bought all these other coins, right? I bought Osmo at like $4 in the past. I've bought DYDX a lot higher than that. So I'm just trying to cost average down, and also I see this as ride or die entry opportunities, right? So that's again something I also said in the last video. I just have this deep conviction, this deep persuasion that Cosmos is going to eventually have its time, have its run. And knowing, speaking to the core team now with Interchain Labs and some other core teams in Cosmos, I think that we have a lot more cohesion and more likeliness that eventually we are going to see this Cosmos season. We're going to see a strong Atom. We're going to see a cohesion with and synergies with other ecosystems as well within Cosmos, but also outside. So love to believe that I have just this deep conviction, but you might also call it delusion. And again, I also believe that delusion is part of what we need in crypto to survive, because it's just an insane, crazy industry, which also hasn't been easy for me as a company founder, as a creator, right? If you look back in the past 3 years during this bear market that I just gave a recap on, I think there wasn't a single time of more than 3, maximum 4 weeks, I would say, where I didn't do a video. And that might have been because I was just traveling or spending time with family or just had some personal issues on the side that, I needed to focus on. But I don't think I was away for more than like a couple of weeks at least, or at max, during this deepest times, coldest times of the bear market. I also understand like some people, they are firing shots. They are trying to also blame me for certain things in the ecosystem when it comes to price performances and those kind of things. And that's okay. I also understand my role being in the front lines, being public facing, being out there and trying to communicate what my views are with speaking to some of these teams, right? But then again, at the same time, I'm also an entirely independent actor, contributor. But anyways, that's a whole different topic. What I wanted to get to is that I believe eventually some of these coins, not all of them, of course, but many of them hopefully are going to have their time, are going to have their run-ups to new all-time highs, right? And I believe Atom is one of them. I believe Say, Tia, even ASI, Kronos now with their latest announcements, like all these top coins, maybe Kava, I'm not sure, I haven't really followed up there. But yeah, many of them. Mantra, of course, we can speak about in another time. That's a whole different patient mantra. But many of them, Osmo, Babylon, Koreum, I think is strong. They also have some things cooking. Dimension and Saga, I think they're also going to have their time. Nilian, a brand new one. So yeah, I think there's still hope. There's still positive vibes and developments. Also looking at Noble down here, they are also about to have their TGE. So there's still a lot of things cooking in Cosmos, a lot of synergies. And again, I have a very, very deep conviction. You might call it delusion. I'm actually okay with that, but that's just my personal sentiment. Now, at the same time, I also, as I said in the last video, I am also invested into other coins and ecosystems, right? So one of my largest investments actually is Hedera HBAR, right? I've been holding that for like 5 years now, 6 years, and whenever it came out, bought some more in the 2020 bear market, 2019, something like that. So that's one of the non-Cosmos coins I'm holding. Then I also have some substrate projects in my portfolio, like Hydration, like Energy Web Token as well. And I know that because I just looked up some of my wallets. While I haven't opened my entire portfolio, which I haven't done in the past 3 months, I have looked at some of my wallets and I saw, I have a nice bag of EWT, for example, and also one that is substrate based that I have a pending limit order right now is Space and Time SXT, the Microsoft chain, basically. I'm not sure if the core team likes to hear that, but yeah, Microsoft has large investment, large stake in Space and Time. It's a rather new project, rather new chain. It's very techy. It's all about ZK. It's about data. So I think it goes to the direction of the Graph and Ocean Protocol, maybe also critical infrastructure for AI. So yeah, that's one that I'm looking into to scoop some more. And while I'm not deeply technical and many of these things are well over my head, I think this is an interesting project. And obviously their affiliation with Microsoft is cool. I also been in talks with the team. We're also going to do an interview here on the channel. And that's Space and Time, what I'm excited about. Now, getting back to Cosmos, the new Cosmos, barely 7 months old, I got to speak and I was invited by my man, Anthony Day, who I got to meet also last year at Cosmos in Dubai. And Anthony is just one of these very positive and like good vibes, high energy people that when you speak to him, like you feel better. He's just one of these amazing people to just have a conversation with. And I hope we get to speak a little bit more over the coming months. But Anthony, really appreciate if you're watching this, listening to this. I know he's more of a LinkedIn guy, but it was a great pleasure. I was a bit sick when we recorded the interview, but I think I still got to share as much, of the recent developments in Cosmos as I could. Got some dates wrong, I think, but yeah, again, I was a bit sick on that day. So if you've been away from Cosmos for the past 2 years, then listen to this one single episode and you'll be up to speed on everything. I'm going to leave a link below. It's on Spotify, which maybe is something we should also launch, like a Spotify podcast here of Cryptocito in a different format, of course, maybe different, maybe just news oriented. So maybe we'll just move the news segment to a podcast, because yeah, there's always something that is relevant that you guys also need to know. And the most recent one that I would say is very big and positive news for the future of CosmWasm, the native Rust-based smart contract framework in Cosmos that's been originally developed by Confio, is now in the leadership and in the hands of Neutron, collaboration between Hadron Labs, the developer organization behind Neutron, and the Interchain Foundation or Interchain Labs. So when Confio was basically sunsetting or ending their support for CosmWasm, for maintaining CosmWasm, ICL was basically thinking like, okay, what do we do now with this? Because ICL at that point has taken back all of the core stack development, including CosmWasm, as of my understanding. But considering that they're doubling down on the EVM, they're also bought out FMOS for open sourcing the EVM OS codebase, now called Cosmos EVM. Basically meant that they're going towards that direction and opened the doors that left a void, a gap for some other company, some other team to fill. And well, Neutron is filling that gap. Neutron also has already permissionless CosmWasm smart contracts enabled and also delivered quality applications like Drop Protocol for liquid staking, like Bull versus Bear, Mars Protocol, Super Vaults, and many more. So Neutron, while they are going this direction towards BTC-fi, Bitcoin, they also just announced their Bitcoin summer with Babylon, Lombard, Solve, and many other Bitcoin projects. So they're heavily focused on Bitcoin right now, but also at the same time, they are now in charge of CosmWasm development, which is great for all CosmWasm developers. And yeah, also hopefully for customers this year. They, as they also pointed out here, have been sponsoring a lot of events, and Cosmos is one of the events they have sponsored in a larger capacity ever since we basically started in 2021, when even before Neutron was born, right? In 2021, we had P2P Validator that was, I think, sponsored even at Cosmos. So P2P was there, Lido was there as well. And yeah, out of this, some of the ex-team members from those companies then went on to found Neutron. And now, since 2022, Neutron has always been a larger sponsor, especially for developer activations and developer activities for Hackmas. So yeah, very, very grateful and thankful for their support over the years. I think specifically, most importantly, for CosmWasm developers out there that have been developing apps on CosmWasm over the past 5, 6, 7 years, maybe even. I think for them, it's great to see that they still have a home. No one is taking that away. And they're not only like taking it over, but they're actually very bullish on it. And Avril, who's been here at Shell a couple of months ago, not too long ago, late May, I think, he was here. He was actually in my place and recorded an episode, which I know the lighting wasn't the best, but it was also just a very busy day. And we just got here and started recording and then went on to another event. So that was the Token Dubai event week. But anyways, we made the interview. If you don't like the lighting, just turn off the video and listen to the audio. But Avril saying, well, we acknowledge that EVM forks help build ecosystems faster. We're not interested in copy pasta code or recycled apps. Big statement. We're focused on real innovation, and we know that the best devs aren't blocked on a language. Supporting the continued development and maintenance for CosmWasm will allow Neutron to cultivate a rich ecosystem of secure, capital-efficient, and performant BTC DeFi applications. So CosmWasm goes Bitcoin finance, Bitcoin DeFi. And if you know Avril in person, then you know how he means those things. I think he's a very smart guy, and he also just speaks his mind. I think that's also why he's so successful in many ways. But yeah, exciting to see that Neutron doubling down on CosmWasm. We also have Torchain and the Ruggiera Alliance that also is integrating CosmWasm and betting on it. And yeah, there's still some other applications and chains out there. Now, getting more into specific verticals and areas within Cosmos, we are seeing the Cosmos stack, for being so flexible and customizable, offers for optimal performance and customization to specific niches, verticals, and use cases, right? Tokenization and RWAs is one sector that is actually dominated by Cosmos. So for me personally, it only made sense to structure our conference, Cosmos, also according to those verticals, right? And instead of saying like, okay, we're the Cosmos conference only, we're also the tokenization conference, we're also the AI conference, we're also the Bitcoin conference, right? Because those are all verticals and niches dominated by Cosmos technology underneath. But it's actually not about selling Cosmos. It's more about selling product market fit. It's all about selling chains and ideas and products that are actually working, that have real use out there. If you look at some of these projects that are falling under that category, right, like Noble for native asset issuance, already more than $500 million. Mantra, if you purely look from a product perspective, has been killing it for becoming a powerhouse and really making RWAs and tokenization, especially of real estate, really, really big. With Korean for financial products as well. They're coming out very soon with some big news. Provenance also with their figure markets that they have over $10 billion in tokenized assets. And then, of course, Ondo and many others. So tokenization is a big theme. And there are some developments because Ondo, which if you are maybe not familiar with it, Ondo is also going to launch a Cosmos chain sometime this year. Hopefully at Cosmos, that would be the best ideal outcome if they just announce and launch their chain at Cosmos. But anyways, they've also now announced stocks are coming onto Ondo. And this is all made on Cosmos technology, right? And that's why Ondo is also very exciting for cosmonauts now because they're actually migrating to launch their own Cosmos L1. Then we also have JP, founder of Mantra, saying Comet BFT, IBC plus EVM is the best RWA stack. And they've also entirely migrated away from Ethereum, and then they were in the Substrate ecosystem and landed in Cosmos eventually. Launched their L1 last year at Cosmos in Dubai. And we'll see what they have been cooking ever since that price collapse. I think they're back to builders mode right now, and we'll see what comes out of that. But anyways, we also have an AI track alongside a Cosmos track that is the main one led by Interchain Foundation. But now we also have an AI track like last year. Same picture here, right? We have Fetch AI, we have Akash Network. We also have Nilian that is also at the convergence of AI and privacy. And Nilian, again, is a project that has raised a lot of money, has a big team, has been around for a very long time, has a strong brand recognition, strong community, decent liquidity across the board, listed on all major exchanges. Nilian definitely one to also watch. And it still has a decent, in the sense of relatively low market cap. That means people can buy a lot less than VCs did and early investors, right? Nilian also announced their roadmap for the rest of 2025, focusing on the developer experience and making it easy for devs to build applications. They also just announced Ticker, which is a copy trading platform that we've covered also when it was announced the other day. But yeah, for AI and also for the tokenization track and the EDM track, those are the three tracks we have publicly announced so far, formally at least. You can already apply if you're a project, if you're an investor, if you want to speak, if you just want to come and you want to be part of the track, you can apply here for each of these tracks, find your vertical, and we'll see you in Split, Croatia later this year. Now, one of the also AI projects in a sense is Saga, that is currently entirely redesigning its inflation model. In fact, they are not only getting rid of inflation, but they're also getting rid of slashing. And the way they do that is basically to set the inflation to zero, remove slashing. They've now implemented another instance basically or another authority on the Saga community pool to basically manually reward validators for running infrastructure. So instead of the incentives coming from the inflation, they're now incentivizing validators or compensating validators for running infrastructure from the Saga community pool, which is authorized by the Saga Foundation to do that and to also pay out those rewards. We'll see how that plays out. This proposal is currently on the forum and open for Saga stakers to vote on. Now, we also have some updates, long awaited or long in the making, I should say, updates from the Strange Clan. They dropped a new trailer here of their game that's been around forever. And yes, games take a lot of time. Also, right now, gaming as an ecosystem or vertical or narrative is very, very cold. It's ice cold right now. But this game looks sick. I'm not going to lie. It looks very cool. Passage, also one of the strongest product-oriented teams. I think one thing they have really not done a good job at is to focus also on the token, right, on the economics, also on the brand awareness, on establishing Passage really as a key player, and also Strange Clan as a flagship game in Cosmos, but also Passage as a key player for metaverse virtual worlds, right? I think metaverse nowadays is not really have a good ring to it, but virtual world builders, that's what they are. And yeah, I think eventually they're still here, they're still cooking. I still have all my Passage tokens, even I'm down bad. I also have my Strange Clan NFTs, even though I'm down bad. But yeah, I'm still here, still living Lex. In fact, I think I have a call with him today, so we'll see where that goes, and I'll update you here on that. Well, the parent project, I would say, that's also the one that bootstrapped Passage in the first place, because Greg actually got Lex more and more into Cosmos, and Cosmos built him. Greg, founder of Akash Network, the super cloud and market leader for GPU compute on crypto. Akash Network, also a sleeping giant in my opinion. Price went down only, but fundamentals went up only, and they are making more and more connections, more and more integrations, more economic activities. And I think Akash AKT is also definitely one to watch. That is actually one of the largest positions in my portfolio. Again, I haven't looked at my portfolio in a couple of months, but when AKT was at $2-3. It was definitely very high up there. I think even the largest position in my portfolio. Anyways, they also have now the Spice Agents NFT collections, the native collection to Akash network. And there was a record sale the other day of 900 AKT. That's like more than $1,000 at the current prices. I scooped some of them. I think I just bought whichever was available at like 12, 13 AKT, something like that. I think I bought like 3 or 4 of them, not too many, but yeah, those NFTs I consider as like a leverage bet, of course, on the underlying assets. So buying Spice Agents is a leverage bet on the AKT token. Also wanted to share the latest Cito Earn campaign is firing like crazy, and we got a lot of quality submissions. The campaign has ended now, so you cannot participate here. You can also see that if you go on Twitter, just type in #Cito Earn and you'll see some of the quality submissions here. And yeah, I think this, for one, it educates people, of course, it educates the community, but two, also it helps to establish and get more content out there around Osmosis, Polaris, around Cosmos, around Atom, right? And that also helps with SEO, with also strengthening keywords, because the more content is out there on these social media platforms, it also trains AI models like Grok, for example, or ChatGPT. So those things are definitely helpful. And there were some quality videos as well. I saw All Time High Media also participated and submitted a quality video. Also like deeper dives and threads and posts and short form tweets and yeah, a lot of things. So what we measure here is obviously authenticity. It has to be organic and like written by an actual human, but then also reach and engagement, right? Those are all things we're factoring in. It will probably take a couple of days to assess and manually review, right? So that's what Cito Earn is. It's basically like a manual Cito-like campaign where we are doing targeted content campaigns around specific products or launches or announcements or anything the like to raise brand awareness or to also drive the conversation and eventually also to attract quality content creators, right? That's also one thing, because now curators have an incentive to create content. And if it's good and if they're confident about it, they will win some real money. There's also another proposal. We teased it when there was this big Osmo tokenomics revamp post the other day that the staking inflation for the Osmo token will be reduced, and this will be proposed shortly. So now we have the firm proposal from Johnny from 3 days ago, who is proposing a halving, further halving after the third inning went down 2 weeks ago. Now another halving of the inflation to 3%, I think, right? Right now it's 6%, so it will go down to 3%. And then plus there's a 2% real yield. So the staking reward, staking APR would be around 5%. Definitely one to watch. And also one of the reasons why I've bought more Osmo the other day. At this point, it was just a all or nothing bet, to be honest. And we'll see how it plays out, right? Maybe Osmo goes back to $2, $3, $4. That would be nice, but yeah, we'll see. Now, also want to give a shout out to XO markets, which is a conviction market, basically the evolution of prediction markets, the poly markets of the world. And they're now in their early alpha, where you can also earn conviction points. And to get access here, you need an exclusive code, which we got. So courtesy of XO markets, the core team, we got some codes here. Thanks for that. And we'll leave them below this video. I think we only had 3 or 4 codes. So if you want to use that product or you really want to use it, please use the code in the description below. If the code is already taken, then please text us and we'll see what we can do here for XO Market. Then we also have updates from Tribbles. The Tribbles project is sunset. It's officially suspended indefinitely. That was one that earlier in 2024 had its window where it could have launched and I think could have contributed to restoring some of the vibes in Cosmos, but yeah, it never launched. It got pushed back and now it got suspended indefinitely. Those that bought the NFT, I think they're getting a full refund on that. So yeah, that's just that. Reimbursement for Omniflix NFT holders of Tribbles, and Tribbles meme coin project indefinitely suspended. Now, one of the bigger things that is coming very, very soon, alongside, of course, the Pump.fun TGE that is coming on Saturday. In 2 days we have Pump.fun TGE. But we also have the Eclipse ESTGE that is also one of the highly anticipated ones. It's an Ethereum L2 implementing the SVM, Solana Virtual Machine or Sea-Level Virtual Machine. And they also have an airdrop coming up for the Tapper community. But yeah, tokenomics are coming. That's the first thing. And then after that, we're going to see the token listing or TGE and then token listing distribution. And then immediately airdrop claim, which apparently is also not vested. And one of the things that we're still waiting on is the distribution, which I guess we're also going to see only once the token is live. The distribution and airdrop size for ASC holders, After School Club, which is the native first and official NFT collection on Eclipse, which also bought one of those NFTs like very long time ago. So gonna see how that plays out. Anyways, Eclipse, one that I'm looking forward to. Space and Time, also one that I am currently having an open limit order. Gotta check after this video if that went through. And yeah, overall, I think we're all ready. We are not just ready, but we actually deserve an alt season, a Cosmos season, a recovery season. I'm not even speaking about all-time highs. I'm just saying like we need a 2-3x recovery pump to sleep better. I think that's what we all deserve. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you very soon here on Cryptocito. Until then, stay safe and be good.